Bitwarden is a really popular password manager boasting strong security, and it's loved by users too. But can you actually trust it? In this Bitwarden review, I'll cover all the ins and outs of Bitwarden and compare it with other industry leaders like NordPass and 1Password. Let's see just how well Bitwarden stands its ground. To find out just how good Bitwarden is, let's start with its ease of use and features. Bitwarden is supported across all major operating systems and many browsers. The app was developed for so many platforms that it'd take too long to say them all, so here's a list of every supported OS and browser on screen. What I noticed right away in Bitwarden's Windows app is that the UI feels intuitive and clean, which is definitely a plus. It almost looks as good as NordPass. On the other hand, I was surprised that the desktop app is so limited. Essential features like multi-factor authentication, password importing, and security reports aren't available, and you can't make any changes to your account either, like changing your master password. So overall, Bitwarden's desktop app leaves a mixed impression. The user interface is intuitive, but lacks features. When you compare the extras you get with Bitwarden's application to all you get with other providers like NordPass or 1Password, the difference is staggering. Both of those providers have full-fledged apps with all the features present. That said, Bitwarden's UI looks similar across all major operating systems, which is a bonus if you like working on different kinds of devices. Plus, Bitwarden has a web application too. Let's see if that's any better. Fortunately, Bitwarden's functionality is in full bloom here, although it's important to remember that some of the features are limited for free users. When it comes to features, Bitwarden's Vault Health and Security Breach reports are a nice addition for me to monitor the robustness of my credentials. The reports show the latest data regarding password health and warn me about unsafe websites and data breaches, which is definitely a perk. Another highlight for me is password sharing. It's easy to share credentials with others, so if a feature like that is important to you, definitely check Bitwarden out. Emergency access is another feature that grabbed my attention. However, know that that one is locked behind a paywall. With this feature, you can share your vault with a trusted person. In my view, locking emergency access behind a subscription is a little bit of a cynical move. Imagine using Bitwarden's free version, accumulating a ton of credentials, and suddenly no one can access your account anymore in the event of an emergency. Not ideal to say the least. Since emergency access is such a critical feature, it must only be included in paid subscriptions across the industry, right? Not at all. If we take a look at NordPass, for example, they offer a free version too that allows users to use emergency access without paying a penny. You can test NordPass free of charge by clicking the link in the description or by scanning the QR code. With ease of use and features covered in this Bitwarden 2025 review, it's time to see just how secure Bitwarden really is. The good news is that Bitwarden is open source, meaning that anyone can review its code, which of course helps spot vulnerabilities and bugs quicker before serious harm like a data breach occurs. That said, in my opinion, being open source doesn't automatically make a provider safer. Some providers like 1Password aren't open source, but this doesn't mean they aren't safe to use. Reputable providers undergo independent audits to ensure the apps take all critical measures to secure your data. Furthermore, Bitwarden Password Manager is encrypted with the AES-256 algorithm, which is the industry standard. It's safe, but not cutting edge. For instance, NordPass uses XChaCha20, a more modern and faster encryption method. However, on the positive side, Bitwarden does employ a zero-knowledge architecture. This means that your data is encrypted locally on your device, which results in more safety because even developers can't access your data. Lastly, Bitwarden is based in the US, which is not a good jurisdiction for any cybersecurity tool focused on privacy because the United States is part of the Nine Eyes Data Sharing Alliance. While jurisdiction isn't usually a deal breaker for me, in Bitwarden's case, things got a bit complicated. Though the company's zero-knowledge architecture and solid encryption compensate for its questionable US jurisdiction, there's another reason Bitwarden is not my first choice. Research in 2023 concluded that Bitwarden's Autofill may get your sensitive information stolen by malicious iframes, even on trustworthy websites. And the worst part is that Bitwarden had known about the potential attack vector for years, but never took action or addressed it head on. Fast forward to 2025, and it's still unknown if Bitwarden has fixed the issue entirely. Honestly, this isn't great for any product, let alone one focused on privacy. But for some reason, Bitwarden's community doesn't seem to mind about this. If that's a deal breaker for you and you want to try out a different provider that's never been compromised, you can do that by clicking on either of the links down in the description below. Anyway, let's keep moving in this Bitwarden review. If you're still interested, despite some of the provider's flaws, Bitwarden has a free version to try it out. It's pretty limited, and the aforementioned emergency access feature isn't available. Nonetheless, the Bitwarden free version is still quite good and worth trying. You can save an unlimited amount of credentials, which includes not only passwords, but credit cards too. Bitwarden offers 2 paid plans: Premium, tailored for up to 2 users, and the Family subscription for multiple accounts. Both plans include all features, like the integrated authenticator, file attachments, and emergency access. The only difference is how many people can use a subscription and how many collections you can use. Overall, Bitwarden subscription pricing is competitive, but alternatives in the industry offer similar pricing with more features. Also, the provider hasn't addressed security flaws, so personally, I wouldn't pay for it. If you're open to paid plans, I'd suggest shopping around and checking out NordPass or 1Password, since both providers offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. By the way, I have a discount for 1Password as well, which you can get by clicking the link in the description. So what's the verdict on Bitwarden? Is Bitwarden good? Well, on the one hand, Bitwarden offers some features you'd expect from a top-tier password manager, and a good user experience. On the other hand, Bitwarden has some glaring transparency issues and a limited desktop app, plus no way to recover your credentials if you're using the free version. That said, I still think Bitwarden's free version is worth testing out, especially if you're not ready to commit to a provider and fork over your hard-earned money. Before you leave, I have an in-depth video with my best password manager recommendations, which you can watch by clicking the button on screen now. Thanks for sticking around till the end, and see you in the next video.